a seat. What brings you to the TCG store at this time of night? Looking for a Pokemon deck? You're in luck. That just so happens to be my specialty. Now, is this your first time buying a Pokemon TCG deck? Have you purchased decks in the past? Maybe a theme deck at a store, or built your own deck at home? But is this your first time building a custom deck? Perfect. That's what we like to hear. We like to offer a unique experience to our customers. Now, not to waste any more of your time, what type of deck are you looking for this evening? I can give you a few examples. We have classic decks such as this beautiful Bodyguard Fossil era deck. We have more flashy decks such as this legendary collection, Turmoil. And we even have E-Series, as you see here. We have many of the originals, the Gym Series, base set 2. And we can also build you any deck with any combination of cards, new or old, that you would prefer. Oh, really? Looking for a specific theme deck in the library? I like your style. Now, what type of theme deck are you looking to purchase? I understand completely. Not to think too dull and simple, you want to start with a theme deck and build up from the ground. Perfect. This will be very enjoyable, I can assure you. Now, once again, what era of theme deck are you looking for? We have many in our library here. A taste of the classics, I see. Alright, base set it is. Now, these will be very vintage cards, so please do take the utmost care in handling them. Which of the base set theme decks are you most interested in tonight? We have many here. As you can see, let's see what we have. We have Water Blast. We have Overgrowth. Blackout, Power Reserve. We have really? Blackout. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. I have it here in our collection. Allow me a moment. I know it's here sometime. We have Brainwave, that's not it. Lightning Bug, that is base set 2. We have Blaine, that's not in the right area. Ah, there it is. Blackout. The exact theme deck that one such as yourself would find themselves looking for if they are a fan of the classics and the vintage variety of cards. This features one of the most overused yet forever appreciated Hitmonchan. This card was widely used in the most effective and successful decks in tournament play. So you are wise to choose this deck. Let's open it up. We have a nice protective casing here to perfectly preserve your theme deck box. Of course, even if you choose to go with a custom box, you will still receive the vintage theme deck box for your purchase. Let's go ahead and get this opened up and let's take a look. And we will set that off to the side. Of course, we will send that along with your classic theme deck here. There is just simply nothing like the looks, the feel, and the designs of these early additions to the Pokemon card game. Just look at that wonderful classic art style with your Squirtle and your Hitmonchan, an interesting yet brazen combination. Now, what do you say we open this up and take a look at what we both know you've come for? The cards. Of course. Let's begin once again. As I'm sure you are well aware of, these vintage theme decks do open up from the side, and I'm quite fair, I believe, in assuming that you are quite the historian of the Pokemon TCG to ask for such a specific name as Blackout. I believe you've done your homework. Quite impressive. First, we have our damage counters. These are vintage, of course, and represent the nice blue and yellow. They are quite nice to behold in their original state. Don't you agree? Of course, these we will lay to the side. Next in your box, of course, upon purchasing this theme deck, you will no doubt acquire all contents. We have 2 informational booklets at your disposal. This is a simple yet effective card list. We have cards from the base set era. We have cards from the Fossil and Jungle, along with many others. Of course, it also has a nice guide to many of the theme decks available at this time, and as you can see, we have Blackout right here at the bottom. This will become useful, I'm sure. We will allow that to sit gently to the side. Next up, we have a very pristinely taken care of player's rulebook. This is, I'm sure, not necessary for someone like you, but just having the vintage addition to your theme deck will, I'm sure, provide you with quite the high levels of enjoyment. Once again, to the side. Now, the moment we both are waiting for, but first we must procure your lucky Chansey coin. This coin is thought to bring very good luck to the user, and was so lucky, in fact, that it was banned from official competition. So, this will no doubt put the final touches on your theme deck. Once again, I will lay that to the side by your damage counters, and we now have the empty box. I will do you the liberty of closing and allowing you to view that as we move along. And there it is, the beautiful yet dangerous Hitmonchan. Notice the simplicity of its power. We have a 20 damage jab for a singular fighting energy, and a special punch for a whopping 40 damage. 2 fighting energies and 1 colorless, which will pair nicely with the water types in this deck, as I'm sure you are well aware of to request such a deck. This, of course, is housed in a protective plastic. As you can see and hear, the quality is quite high and is very vintage. So do take care. We will go ahead and open up your cards and show you the contents of such a beautiful TCG deck. Now, this, of course, is a 60 card theme deck. As is customary for the rules of the game, some of our theme decks come with extra cards that you can pick and choose to add or subtract from your deck at will, but these vintage decks are quite pricey, I am afraid, so they do come with just the default number and types of cards. But I'm sure you understand. We have a singular, as is tradition with the theme decks, a singular hollow foil as your primary card. We have your hard-hitting Hitmonchan. This beauty has quite the classic look and shine. Notice the subtlety of the original base set hollow foils. Not as vibrant, but quite alluring nonetheless. Next up, we have 3 Onyx cards. These cards provide you with a bit of a punch and a bit of sturdiness that you might need with the 70 HP present with your Hitmonchan. A bit of a step up from a glass cannon, but still not the beefiest of Pokemon. This Onyx has a nice, modest rock throw, but with its harden ability, it can reduce damage. With that 90 HP, it is quite the nice pairing for a quick attacker, such as Hitmonchan, if you find yourself needing a slower setup. Continuing, we have a nice Sandshrew. Sandshrew is a simple, basic Pokemon to get you started, noticing that all 3 are basics immediately, so this deck is a bit of a fast mover if you understand those types of strategies. We also have another example of the quick moving basic cards with your Farfetch. As you can see with this Farfetch'd here, we have a slight 50 HP, but with Leak Slap only requiring a 1 colorless energy, and Pot Smash for 3 and a 30 damage. It's not a bad choice if a quick strike to your foe is required. Next up, we have 2 of your Squirtle cards. These Squirtle provide a nice reprieve from your early on fighting type energy requirements and give you a nice splash of change with the water type. This Squirtle has a nice bubble attack, and as you can see, it can paralyze the opponent with its withdraw attack, which allows you to flip a coin and prevent all damage if successful. These Squirtle are quite a personal favorite of mine, if I may be so bold, we also have an additional Squirtle there. I knew we were one short. We then have your nice War Turtle to add to that Squirtle evolutionary line. This War Turtle is a bit more substantial with 70 HP and continues the withdrawal ability, but offers a bit more of a bite with the move Bite, with 40 damage, of course. Next up, allow me to ensure we have all of the cards assigned that we have laid out thus far. There are your 2 additional Satin Shrew, your 3rd Squirtle, and your 2nd War Turtle. Now we are looking a bit more complete. As I'm sure you've had a chance to take a sneak peek at, we have, for your consideration, 4 Machop to get the fight started on the right foot. We have just a simple low kick for 20 damage and a single fighting energy requirement, and 50 HP is nothing to scoff at all. 4 of those Machop will become quite useful. Now we have your Machoke at an 80 HP. It is quite impressive, and it's Karate Chop with very substantial damage, with Submission following closely behind with 60 damage, and unfortunately a 20 recoil damage. It does, however, have quite the large amount of energy requirements, but I'm sure with the trade-off of high damage, that's something that you will be willing to deal with. Last but not least, in your Pokemon repertoire, we have 3 Staryu. These Staryu are a simple starter to your hand and have but 40 HP and 20 damage with Slap. Those are the Pokemon featured in the default deck list of your Blackout theme deck. Is everything as it should be? Excellent. Next up we have just your basic trainer cards. We have a Super Energy Retrieval, Super Energy Removal, which allows you to remove some energy cards from the opponent. Your discard your hand and draw 7 Professor Oaks. Your traditional energy removal, not as potent as the super, but still quite useful. We have a nice plus power for an additional kick to your attacks, and Gust of Wind if a hasty retreat is needed. As you can see, the trainer cards are quite basic, but very useful in the original format of the game. Next up, we have your water type energies. And followed swiftly by your fighting type energies. Is all squared away as it should be. That is the complete contents of your theme deck Blackout base set purchase. Excellent. Now, you said you had a few tricks up your sleeve when it came to purchasing your theme deck. You forewarned me to bring out my best. So, what would you like to add or adapt from your theme deck tonight? Oh, really? Staying with the classic feel, but mixing it up just a bit, are we? Perfect. So, to satisfy your requirements, I will be using the card list you would like, the enhanced version of this deck, as listed in the official guide here. That will not be a problem. I am sure we have all of those cards in stock, so I will point your attention here to your card list. For a enhanced experience using this deck, it is suggested that you remove a list of cards, as it says under remove, and add the add column to your deck. This will synergize with some of the cards that are slightly underused and remove some of the redundancy, making this a little bit more potent and a quite a bit more fun. Does that sound good? Excellent. So I will consult your guide. It first says to remove 2 fighting type energy. They will be jettisoned from the deck immediately, followed by a single of our poor Sandshrew. Not to worry, we will replace that damage from your basic Pokemon. And 3 Onyx, I am afraid. That beefy nature might not be as necessary as originally intended with this deck. Next up on the removal are your 2 Farfetch'd. Notice we have lost a total of 6 basic Pokemon. Not a cause for concern. We will remove that single gust of wind and your plus power. How interesting. How will we make up our ground here, per se? Allow me. The first addition will be our 2 water energies. Let me consult our stock in the back. Please allow me a moment. And we have just what the doctor ordered. First up, for your additional cards, we have 1, 2 water energy. Perhaps a preview of what's to come. We will place those with the others. Next up on the add list is a set of Starmie. Now that basic Staryu is starting to look a bit more complete and potent with the addition of this 60 hit point Starmie. Allow me to show you just what this beast can do. With 2 water energy, we have Recover, which requires you to discard 1 water energy attached to Starmie, however, in order to use the attack, and remove all damage from said Pokemon. Quite useful if in a pinch, I am sure. Next up, with 2 colorless and 1 water energy, we have Star Freeze. Quite the interesting name. At 20 damage, it also allows you to flip a coin, and on heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. Very nice. Next up, and I think you are going to like this, we have base set Blastoise. And yes, it is base set. Don't fool yourself. We would not simply slip in a less expensive base set to Blastoise to satisfy the requirement. We pay attention to detail here at the TCG store, and we pride ourselves on our quality. This Blastoise will provide you with a very hardy 100 hit points, and allow me to read its Pokemon power, Rain Dance. As often as you would like during your turn, you may attach one energy card to one of your water Pokemon, as long as that energy is a water energy, of course. This attack can't be used if Blastoise is affected by a status condition, I am afraid, but that allows us to prime all of our water-type Pokemon for attack. And, get this, for 3 water-type energies, we have Hydro Pump with 40 base power, plus it does 10 more damage for each water energy attached to Blastoise, but is not used to pay for the attack. So, for example, if you had 5 water-type energy, this would do 40 plus 20 more. Now keep in mind, with your Rain Dance, you can attach 1 energy card to any of your water Pokemon as long as it is a water energy. So you could load up Blastoise on 1 turn if given the opportunity that you have the sufficient amount of water energy, but quite a useful Pokemon power. Next up, it does suggest we add 1, 2, and 3 Dratini. These Dratini are basic with a pound for 10 damage and 40 HP, but a beautiful normal type card and a lovely dragon. Next up, we have the rare designation, Dragonair. What a beautiful artwork on that card. Don't you agree? Yes. This Dragonair does boast a nice 80 hit points and has Slam for a 30 times number of heads for 2 flipped coins. With Hyper Beam, however, we must use 4 colorless energy, a base damage, however, of 20, and if the defending Pokemon has any energy cards attached to it, choose one of them to discard. So, a nice disruptor. And last up on the additional card list, we have Super Energy Removal. A bit more power for our money. Now, this is, in fact, the modified deck list. Does this fulfill your needs of a theme deck tonight? Perfect. Let's get on to the additional items with your purchase. Why don't we? Now, the first thing we will do here is decide on a sleeve type and color for your deck. Do you have a color in mind? We could play on the colors of the theme box itself, the colors of the types of Pokemon, brown, white, blue, or maybe a play on the theme of the deck itself. Perhaps a black for the Blackout moniker. What do you think? Black it is. Allow me to grab our stock here. Let's move a few of your cards here out of the way, and we will get started with the rest of your experience. Let's take a moment to procure our box of goodies here. This houses all of our additional items and pieces that are essential to the deck building experience. We first will access your card sleeves. As you can see, we have quite the large variety of various colors, types, textures of card sleeves, and as I believed, we have a fresh pack of black card sleeves right here. Now, while we are here, looking at the pieces to your deck, what do you think about damage counters, coin, etc., status conditions? We have many options to choose from. Let's start with our damage counters. Of course, you do receive the traditional damage counters here, as seen, but I have a feeling that you would enjoy a bit of flair to go along. Of course, you will still receive these. What do you say? Would you like to spring for a bit more premium quality? Perfect. Let's see what we have here, and if you will allow me, I will make a few suggestions. We have a nice cerulean blue, beautiful green. We have a darker blue. Okay, that might be decent. We have a little bit of red. I don't know if that will work, but I've seen stranger. What about the loose dice we have here? Oh, those could work. Yes. I've seen a stranger combination. Yes. I'm not sure. What about the blue and bit of a orangish brown? Now, if I may be so bold, I do believe the coloring of your theme deck box does perfectly suit this step. I see that you require no more sailing. I see that you require no more of a sales pitch to make quite the fine choice. I will retrieve just a few of those particular dice. As you can see, the quality is quite high. You have a large variety of numbers available to use, and these will go quite high in terms of damage, so they may also be used in newer decks. So feel free to use them in any battle of your choosing. We will set these to the side, of course. Now, while we are here, would you like a specific coin, or will the default coin suffice? Default it is. Excellent choice. The original coins and the chancy coin at that is quite hard to beat. Now, for status conditions, I must implore you to go ahead and go with the more premium hardened plastic versions of your burn and poison damage. These will be long-lasting and very resistant to damage. Is that something that you are interested in? Perfect. Wise choice, my friend. Wise choice. So we have your coin, we have your status condition markers, we have your damage counters, and your sleeves. I do believe the only thing left is your deck box. And now, unfortunately, with the additional items that you have selected, we will be unable, I am afraid, to place everything back in your traditional theme deck box, so I must suggest that you purchase a custom box to take with you as well today. Is that all right? Excellent choice. Let's go ahead and remove that from our immediate vicinity. And if I may, with your Blackout theme, your dice that perfectly match that coloring, and your sleek black, I do think that a nice striking blue would work perfectly with this deck, and when you open that box and see the black cards inside, you will be immediately reminded of just what deck you built. How does that sound? I see. Most agreeable. Allow me. Ah, yes. This beautiful, very protective theme deck case will be the perfect housing of your custom yet classic theme deck. Allow me. We will remove the top portion. This will house your dice, damage counters, your coins, and status symbols. We will then just gently open the top portion of the box. As you can see, that fit is quite snug and will not be easily dislodged. It is rather sealed, not exactly waterproof, but fairly substantially protective against the elements. Let's begin here. The next portion will be to sleeve your cards. We will take a nice sampling of your sleeves. As you can see, these are very nicely textured and slip resistance. Notice the sound. Not easily fumbled when pulling from a deck, but very clear and easily transparent to perfectly capture those hollow foils. Let's go ahead and begin. We will try to breeze through this portion. What are you doing with the remainder of your evening, if you don't mind me asking? You've had such a wonderful time here. I hope you do consider continuing your good fortune and festivities. Perhaps the casino. Maybe a bite to eat. I hear the Pokémon Cafe is quite popular these days. A trip to the Pokémart. I do hear the bug contest is in full swing this time of year. I do believe every Tuesday and Thursday, if I am correct. So, if you've missed it, just check back and I'm sure it will be there. My suggestion, well, of course, I would stop by the bug contest. It is quite a good time. If you don't have a Pokemon at your disposal and have any aspirations of becoming a Pokemon trainer, I do encourage you to visit the Universal Pokemon Lab here in R&R City and stop by the professor to pick up your starter Pokemon if indeed you qualify. I know it does require a reservation, so if that is something that you do have interest in, I would not hesitate to call. Of course, if you are already a Pokemon trainer, there are various gyms that you may visit to work your way towards the gym challenge. we are making fine progress here. This should only take but a moment. Thank you for your patience. I cannot seem to hold on to that energy. I would not use that one in battle. If you do draw that one, I would discard it immediately. It seems to be quite bad luck. Ah, that beautiful holofoil Blastoise has been unearthed. Once again, please, and we will take just the utmost care. As I said, that nice sleeve will perfectly protect your cards, and this wonderfully designed Blastoise will be all the more happy that you took good care of it. My favorite game at the TCG Casino? Well, I do not like to brag, but I have been known to frequent the battle bets table myself, and am known to do quite well. Yes, I have even come out positive at least once while playing, which is quite difficult to do. As you can see, that beautiful Hitmonchan looks rather dashing, and the Blackout moniker is so fitting with this sleeve. You have chosen very well tonight. Your first good choice was visiting our TCG shop in the first place, so I must congratulate you on a string of very well thought out ideas. If you don't mind me asking, I can't help but notice that pendant around your neck. Are you in the business of visiting the temple from time to time? Oh, really? You're here to visit the temple in R&R. I can't say I blame you. That establishment seems to attract the best the city has to offer, but they can be quite, how shall I put this, rigid in their ideals. If I could offer you a bit of advice, I would be at your best when arriving. It's known to benefit those who get off on a good first step when visiting the temple. But, of course, you must forge your own path in this world from time to time, so I'm sure you will have it very much figured out. We are indeed approaching the end to our sleeving process. Next up, we will begin to load the rest of your deck with all of the various goodies that you have so wisely selected. And that is the final card in the deck. What I do like to do is place the primary card at the front there. As you can see, the black and blue looks quite nice for the Blackout theme. I will place just a few additional card sleeves here, just in case you have a rather vigorous play session here with your theme deck. Next up, we will load the top portion of your deck so that we can store your dice. I do suppose we will store your coin first, your beautiful Chansey coin. Once again, wonderful selection there. We will store now your 4 dice. Looks quite nice. And I do think we will go ahead and store your status condition markers there in the lower compartment, lest we not provide our dice with sufficient room. That is a sight to behold. We have a beautiful Blackout theme deck housed in a wonderfully customized and yet pristinely classic deck box. I do believe this will be one of the best theme decks you ever own, and perhaps one of the most fun decks to battle with in general. I commend you very much for your selections. With that said, I will go ahead and repackage your vintage box. These boxes are, as you can see, very nice to simply display, and even if you are not going to utilize them in play, they are nice just to have around to look at, and your traditional damage counters. And there we have it, the wonderfully classic and complete original theme deck box and your beautifully customized one. I do say this has been quite the enjoyable experience for me, and I do hope you enjoyed it just as much. Please don't hesitate to join us again in the near future, and please not so distant one, and do enjoy your remainder of your stay in R&R City. Thank you so much for stopping by. You can simply take your items to the front desk and they will see you out. Thank you and enjoy your evening. Of course, take care.